Hey, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Jet. I hope you're having a fantastic evening. It's like 1 a.m. here in Toronto, but I wanted to get this video out on Palantir. This is a stock that I haven't talked about in quite some time. We used to talk about this a lot in 2021. A company that really focused on these like AI government contracts, sort of really to help with defense and all of that. But let's be honest here, it's not just defense, it sort of scopes everything. And as you guys know, the term AI or artificial intelligence has sort of popped up as like this sort of catch-all term. Like when Nvidia mentioned it in their earnings, they went from $300 a share to over 400. Every company has just been trying to ride that coattail of the AI train, because with ChatGPT and all these AI buzzwords, if you just mention AI, your stock just seems to go up. So it seems like Alex Karp and Palantir & Co., because their actual company is powered by AI, this gives them a huge advantage. Now, before we get into it, just remember, like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and also do not forget, I am not a financial advisor, so do not sort of take any of this as financial advice, okay? So Palantir has seen some incredible growth recently. In the last day or on Friday, it was only down 2 to 3%. Over the week, it was down about 3%. But let's take a look at the month. Over the month, it was up 18.64%, 118% over the last 6 months, and year to date, almost 200%. Now, if we sort of zoom out, you can actually see that this is still not the all-time high for Palantir. It reached $35 back in 2021. This is right before the GME and AMC craze happened, when tons of money flowed out of speculative stocks at the time, like this one, and into AMC, GME, and all of those. Now, what has happened is goes back to everything I talk about. When we think about investing, whether you're in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, whether you are investing in Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, they all follow this psychology of a market cycle. Typically, you'll see, slow adoption, mass euphoria, some sort of fantastic sort of pressure there, all-time highs. Then you just see rapid sell-offs. You're like confused because this is an amazing stock. What's going on, right? The company's doing fantastic, but the market conditions have changed. There may be some fear going around. Stock price dumps, and then it starts to pick up again. And I believe we are on that upward trajectory for Palantir, right? So even like after the all-time high of $35, we should see something like $25 to $28. And while Palantir was $6, the smart people picked it up, and now it's almost at $20 again, right? And if we talk about like why Palantir stock has climbed so much in July, it has a lot to do around the optimism that I mentioned around artificial intelligence. And because it's a leader in worldwide AI, it ranks at the top, and its platform is really suited for defense corporations and business organizations that allows them to tap into larger language models to power their growth. And the other thing is, like, if we take a look at their earnings, this was something that Alex Karp has, really harped on. He told people a couple of years ago, look, if you're in Palantir to sort of make money on the stock, go away. I'm focused so much more on the company being profitable. I could care less about the share price. So people came, they left. The people who believed in what he was doing, the people who sort of realized, hey, if the company becomes profitable, that means my shares will be worth more, right? So they loaded up shares. And we have our earnings call tomorrow afternoon after the bell. So here's the thing I want to mention. Despite their earnings sort of last time being good, and also the second profitable quarter in a row, right? And like, I'm not going to go through all this. I will put this in the sort of description below because I find this part of financial YouTube somewhat boring. You can review this on your own. But what we really want to cover here is, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow? So just remember this. Everyone always wants more. If you told people, hey, this company's going to have fantastic earnings, and then they have fantastic earnings, the stocks can go down. Why? Because people have already priced it in. By the time the share price has risen, these expectations are already set. They're expecting more. So my expectation is, unless we have a dramatic beat tomorrow, I expect to see the share price retrace probably to around like below $18, maybe around $17. If it's neutral, that's where I expect it. If it's an amazing beat, I expect us to break the $21.33 mark that you can see on here. I'm just going to zoom in here. Sort of break through this and go higher, right? One of the things you have to realize is you can't just take a look at one or two indicators. You have to get like confluence. So, I have the Bollinger Bands here, really they're within it. I have the RSI, and really the RSI is only at like 60, which tells you that we're not overbought, we're not oversold. Potentially, this is a great opportunity for an earnings catalyst to really dictate the movement, either up or down. So if we have an earnings sort of miss, I expect Palantir to drop to like $15, $16. Like, just the air will come out of the tires. I think we'll retrace back to sort of $15 over the next few days if that happens. If it's neutral, maybe it drops $1 or 50 cents. And if it's a huge beat, if it's a significant beat, I expect us to break past 20 and hit $21 and beyond. So that's sort of my thoughts here. And remember, like, it's so hard to tell how companies are doing, right? So like, just move this over here. If we think about Amazon's earnings were fantastic. Apple's earnings were terrible, right? The iPhone sort of production slowdown, not production, sort of the consumerism behind it. It's never really easy to tell how earnings are going to go. So ask yourself the following question. And remember, you have to ask yourself this now before we get into the actual position, because let's say the earnings come out and they do fantastic. Well, you're going to be driven by emotion. One of the things I always do, and I've always told you guys this for the 2.5 years I've been on YouTube, you have to make a plan. So what does your plan look like, right? Are you in profit right now? I'm in profit. I only have a few hundred shares of Palantir. I'm sort of ashamed to admit it, but I kind of faded buying more Palantir when it was below $10. I only bought like a couple hundred. I've been holding on to them for about like a year and a bit, and I haven't added since. I obviously wish I did. Like, there's nothing I can do. But then since then, the stock has just been going up. So like every single day, I'm like, oh, it's going to retrace and I can buy some now. Nope, just kept going up, right? But even for me, I'm in complete profit. So ask yourself this. Are you able to trim some of your shares and take profit? And that way, if the stock retraces, you can buy back some. And then if it keeps going up, you still have skin in the game regardless. So you win either way. And my plan, it's the one that I've written down, I'm selling 30% of my shares right before the market closes, because I expect that people will be drumming it up. And shares of Palantir will sort of go up during the day. You will see people selling call options for the week, and their prices will also potentially go up. Obviously, this is sort of in a vacuum. What could also happen is potentially, let's say, there's some sort of black swan event or something else happens, like, last week where the credit rating for the US dropped, right? That could bring all the stocks down in general. So like, you have to look at these things sort of by themselves and then as a sort of bigger picture, right? And, for those of you, I just mentioned this right now, please, if you missed out on Palantir, please avoid buying weekly calls. Like, that is just pure gambling. And honestly, like, we're in this position right now where if you just have some money, you have a huge edge being able to buy fantastic companies on a discount. Don't just sit there and roll the dice. Like, we don't know if it's going to go up or down. And like, you literally are just like flipping a coin here, right? Like, it could heads or tails. It could go either way. If you want a piece of Palantir, and like, let's say you don't want to miss out on earnings, then my recommendation, remember, not financial advice, just buy some shares, because long term, I expect Palantir to go to $40 or $50 in the next like 3 to 5 years. That's my thoughts. Sort of like, that's what we should expect if we sort of see this trend continue anyways. And that way, like, you're not bound to a certain time horizon. With the exception of Marathon Digital Holdings, I will never buy call options. And when I do, I buy them for like a year and a half to 2 years out. So they're more like leaps. But even still, you don't want to be the sucker who buys call options. You want to be the person who are selling call options to people, right? You want to sell call options and you want to sell puts. You don't want to buy puts and you don't want to buy calls. When you do that, you are the gambler. I want to be the person who lets people gamble and they pay me. So that's sort of my thoughts overall. I would love to hear, what are your thoughts on Palantir? Do you think it's going to crush earnings? How many shares do you have? I would love to hear that. Let us know in the comments below. And like, obviously tomorrow is going to be a big day. I can't wait to see how it turns out. If you want to chat more, check out my free public Discord. You can discord.thebrowser.com for stocks and crypto. I want to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.